Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. My name is Felicia Lowe, and this is Taking Back Friday. This is the moment in time where we meet every month. It's the second Friday of every month, and we talk about things that are going on at Sweet Georgia and things that are going on at the School of Sweet Georgia, things that are going on behind the scenes. Thank you so much to everybody for being here. Now, I'm going to just check and make sure everything is good, and that you guys can see me okay and that you guys can hear me okay. Um, and we'll go kind of from there. Let's see here. I hope that everything is going well. Let's see here. Okay. Things look like they're happening. Okay, I can find the chat now. I found the chat. Wonderful. And it is so nice to see you guys. I see Kathy, I see Elaine, I see Nina, I see Julie, Rachel. Amazing. Thank you guys so much for being here, everybody. I'm just gonna see if I can keep seeing this. Fantastic. Great. Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for being here. It is so nice to be here. I have lots and lots of things to share with you guys today. Lots and lots of things. And maybe the first thing I should do is I'm going to show you what is happening basically downstairs as we speak, because you may hear background noise today because things are happening right now here at our studio. So you guys will know that we moved into a new space in at the end of December, beginning of January. We moved into this new space. We have a new studio in Vancouver that we're working out of. It is near the Fraser River in Vancouver, so it's in South Vancouver, close to where we have always been located. And just really, really excited to see this place come together. So a couple of days ago, you can kind of see this little wall here. It's like a half height wall. It's called a pony wall, apparently. There's a couple of little electrical boxes in here where electricians were sort of installing power that's going to go to our new dye studio that's going to be built in this entire area here. And then they've marked on the floor where like a lot of the plumbing is going to go. I don't know if you can hear that. There's some sawing going on downstairs right now. Um, yeah, it'd be interesting to know if you guys can actually hear that or not. But yeah, they're building out this dye studio space downstairs. And so this is going to hold all of our sinks, all of our stoves, and all of that kind of stuff is happening here. And then I don't know if you can see, but there's a little table back here. You can see there's a table back here. And currently that's holding three knitting machines that were donated to me last year. And so these three knitting machines are older, they're vintage, they're used knitting machines that somebody wanted to let go of. And I have not yet had a chance to set them up. And so my hope is that once the dye studio is all built in this area here, the area that's in front here will hold a little mini machine knitting factory. It'll be like a little mini machine knitting studio. So I'm hoping to set up a little table here. I'm hoping to set it up so I can have one machine on one side of a table, another machine on another side, and maybe a third machine on a short side. And so three machines around one table. I've seen this done before. I know there are places in the world that do this. I'm very excited about having some machines set up at the studio, and maybe we can all use them or learn to use them and things like that, and have maybe a shelf of coned yarn on the side here. I'm not sure entirely how it's all going to come together, but I'm excited about the chance of seeing this come together. So, yeah, that's basically what is happening at our dye studio right now. And sort of like you get a bit of a behind the scenes before it happens of seeing it come together. You can't see, but you can come in. Basically, there's a front shop area, which I've shown you guys before, but you come in and then you would turn the corner and you go up the stairs, and up the stairs is where we have like a lot of our offices. We're doing some filming for school up there as well. And on the other side of this little mini staircase is our mini skein making factory. And so Rachel is there very often making mini skeins, party of five sets, all of that kind of stuff is behind this little wall here. So once things are coming, we are going to take some really nice photos and show you all of the insides of what's happening here. But this is kind of in the middle of it all. I'll also show you upstairs. This is the room that I'm sitting in right now, just from a different angle. And so if I'm sitting here and I look this way, this is basically the view that I would see. And so we had last Friday Rachel Smith from Woolen Spinning. She has a YouTube channel, she has a community, she has classes that she's taught with us for a while on the School of SweetGeorgia. She teaches spinning with us. And so she came back last Friday to film the first course that we've ever filmed in this room. And she's filming a class about spinning to knit a hat. And so this is very much meant to be like a really accessible course for anybody who's just learning how to spin, wanting to figure out, how do you use the hand spun yarn that you've made into something, something very straightforward, something very uh, easy and accessible to start with, which is a hat, and figuring out how to size your hat in order to fit the hand spun that you've made. So that's that. And then next week, this week we're kind of getting settled. You can hear building back there. Can you hear building going on? But next week we are filming 3 days with Andrea Rangel, who lives on Vancouver Island. So she's going to take a ferry over to the Vancouver mainland, and we are going to film some content around designing and knitting color work. So knitted color work. She's working with one of our yarns, a BFL and silk yarn that we're working with, and yes, it's been good. It's been good. So we're excited about that class. Greta says she's just gone through all the content that's going to be filmed and she's really, really excited about it. We're all really looking forward to it. Yes. And Linda's saying, yeah, we are at a lot of times smaller spaces turn out really nice because it requires even better planning on the flow of space. Yeah, I did find that in our old space, we did have a lot of space, but a lot of the space was hallway space. And so a lot of the times that space doesn't necessarily get used the most effectively. And so here we don't have hallways, so it seems a little bit more full, but Charlotte is saying it's a lot more cozy. And so one of the things that I also wanted to mention is that we are going to be starting to open up on Saturdays. So it's not going to be every single Saturday, but we're saying that starting May 11th at the studio, we're going to start we used to do knit night. So we're going to start another group, and the group will go from 11 o'clock in the morning until 1 p.m. in the afternoon on a Saturday. And then the studio sort of storefront will be open from 11 until 3 p.m. that afternoon. And so we're going to continue this the second Saturday of every month starting in May. We're really, really looking forward to that. And then hopefully you'll be able to come and sort of experience that coziness, that cozy vibe that we've created in the front shop. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that come together because it's been a long time. I think the last knit night Charlotte hosted was maybe October or November, I think, last year. And everybody was wondering, oh, are we going to have a knit night again? Are we going to be able to get together again? And so I'm really, really thankful that we can get together in this space to do that. So, what else is happening these days? What else is happening? Right now, Teresa and I are in the midst of preparing to go to H&H. H&H Americas. So I've talked about H&H before. It is a trade show that used to happen in Cologne, still continues to happen in Cologne in Germany. And I went there. We went there for maybe 5 years, and Cologne is an amazing show. It's great, and it's so focused on um, everything to do with crafts. Like it is just your people. It's a fun, fun place to be. H&H stands for Hobby and Handarbeit. It's like hobby and handwork, anything that you're making with your hands. So there's like sewing machines, there's quilting stuff, there's needle stuff, there's knitting, there's crochet, there's fabric. There's so many things. So in any case, they started doing a trade show in North America 3 years ago. So this is going to be the third one, I believe, in North America. And it's near Chicago. It's not in Chicago. It's about 30 minutes outside of Chicago. But we are going and we're going to see sort of like the goal is to see sort of what's going on with everybody else in the industry, to see what's happening in crafts and knitting and fiber arts, what's popular. And they're starting to do this thing about calling it the Content Creator Summit. So it gives us an opportunity to meet other people who also do similar things like making videos or writing blog posts or taking photos of crafts and getting a chance to meet people who do that. We're also going to participate in something called Sample It, and that's going to give us an opportunity to showcase our new color collection that we're going to come out with this fall. And so we have 6 new colors lined up for fall that are going to come out, and we're putting this together in like a mini collection, and we're going to share that at Sample It. So we're really, really excited about that. And as well, on the Friday of H&H, this show, I get the opportunity to sit on a panel with a bunch of amazing people talking about how we can use yarn in a variety of different ways, including weaving with knitting yarn. So that's one of my favorite things of all time. And this is a panel that's hosted by the Hand Weavers Guild of America. So we'll get a chance to talk about all the things that we like: yarn, color, weaving with it, knitting with it, all those things. Um, if you do happen to be from a store or know of a store that might want to sort of like sit down and chat with us at H&H, I do have a link here, sweetgeorgiayarns.com/HH24 meeting, and you can just kind of like block a time, and then we can make sure that we have time to sit down and chat about all sorts of things that you might be thinking about. The show is open to anybody who is involved in some way, shape, or form with the crafts industry. So whether you write a blog or you're a knitwear designer or you're a teacher, instructor, whatever it is, if you are in and around that Chicago area around May 1st, it would be great if you wanted to come by and see the show. But that is basically what we are working on right now, is just preparing for this. So that is a bit of the behind the scenes of what's been going on in and around Sweet Georgia and the School of SweetGeorgia. How's everybody doing? Good. Fantastic. I love seeing you guys all in the chat here. It's wonderful. Yes, you're excited for Rachel's class and then her books of patterns. Oh, yes. Oh, the Rachel's class you guys are excited about, and Andrea Rangel. Yes, she's written a bunch of books with knitwear design, color work motifs in there, and that is fantastic. Dawn is asking if H&H is appropriate for hobbyists. And I believe that if there's any way that you are like associated with the crafts industry, if you're writing a blog, if you're like doing content creation, or if you're doing any sort of knitwear design, anything like that, you can see if you can get a pass. So just Google H&H Americas and all of the information will come up about who is exhibiting, all of the floor plan of all the exhibitors that are available, and how you can come as a visitor as well. In the past, for the Cologne show, I believe it used to be only open to industry, like wholesale accounts, for the first couple of days. And then I think the last half of the last day, they would open it up to the public. And so then a lot of people would come, and it was like a really, really good energy and everything like that. So it would be great to see if you're able to attend as well. Good. So I have more things to share with you. We're going to talk about the April Club that just came out. The April Club, and we're going to do the little the color release. So let me share with you a little bit about this. Right now we are in. Oh, I didn't share a photo with you. Maybe I'll share a photo. Oh, it'll be on the blog later. I'm going to share a photo with you guys later. Bridget is putting it together right now, I believe, as we speak. But there are gorgeous, amazingly gorgeous photos that Charlotte took of cherry blossoms here in the Vancouver area. And so April is very much cherry blossom season here in Vancouver and around Vancouver. And so I'm going to share with you, this is the colorway inspiration for the April month for our Secret Stash Club. Secret Stash is our monthly yarn club subscription. We do also a quarterly fiber subscription. And so all of these monthly subscriptions, the colorway is inspired by stories that we're experiencing or have experienced. Drawing a lot of inspiration from things that have happened and things that we can share. And so in Vancouver and in Richmond, we do have these things called cherry blossom festivals. And it's very much an amazing time to sort of sit down and celebrate the cherry blossoms as they bloom. They're beautiful. There's like white ones, there's pink ones, there's light pink, there's dark pink, and it's just a really beautiful and stunning time in and around Vancouver. Um, this is obviously inspired a lot by what happens in Japan. They also celebrate cherry blossoms, obviously. They have um, a whole culture around getting together and celebrating cherry blossom season because it is a time where you're kind of meant to reflect a little bit on how time is fleeting, how life is short, because these cherry blossoms come and the blooms are gorgeous. They're beautiful. But in a matter of days, they could be gone. Like it can be, it's raining a little bit yesterday and whatever. And just one windstorm or one rainstorm, all of those cherry blossoms could be gone basically overnight. And so it was kind of funny because April 7th, I think, was supposed to be the Cherry Blossom Festival in Richmond, but by that date, almost all the cherry blossoms around the airport area, they were all gone. Like those trees are all bare now because all of the petals have already blown away. So it's just a reminder about how fleeting everything is. And so you think about, saying, oh, you should really stop and smell the roses. But how do you know that the roses are even going to be there when you decide to stop? So it's almost like making you remember that it's important to stop. It's important to stop because you don't actually know when they're not going to be there anymore. So, yeah, it's a beautiful sort of moment to think about. In Japan, they have these celebrations where you go to the park, you go have a picnic outside, and there's a lot of celebration around this time. And so, on one hand, you think cherry blossoms are very like beautiful, they're floating through the air, they're light and they're delicate, they're pale pink, there's that aspect of it. But the other aspect of it is that there's a lot of happy celebration. There's a lot of enjoying each other's company. There's a lot of sitting around with friends and family. People take days off work to go hang out in the park and sit around the cherry blossoms. It's like a really, really neat time. And the times that I've been in Japan during this season, the weather reports are not actually weather. Well, there's weather reports, but they have cherry blossom reports. And so they'll show the entire map of Japan, and they'll show in this area of Japan, the cherry blossoms are white. In this area of Japan, the buds are coming out. And they show the flow of how the cherry blossoms are blossoming across the country, just like you would with a weather report. It's really quite awesome. In any case, when you go through these parks where people are having cherry blossom viewing picnic parties, they have like lots of vendor stands. It's actually quite active, lots of things going on. And so I remember passing through and seeing these bins of all this candy. Like there's so much candy available for sale. And so this sort of it's all rock sugar candy basically, and it's so colorful. And so I remember that very, very vividly. This photo is like I took this ages and ages ago. Must be more than 10 years ago. And I just remember all of this. And so this is where the color idea came from. And so that is what we are sharing now. So this is a photo of the sock blank that we dyed for the club. So you can see the sock blank is here, comes in this format. And this is the colorway. It is called Sakura Season. Now, we decided to dye it on a double sock blank, which I know is like a format that not everybody has used before or worked with before. And so that's part of the reason why I actually made a special um, tutorial to show how it works and everything like that. But you can see here, there's two strands. Can you see here? Yes. There's two strands of Tough Love sock that have basically been held together, and they're knit together into a piece of fabric that then we dye, we put color on it. And so there's pink, obviously, for cherry blossoms. There's this tangerine orange that's kind of candy colored. There's like a tiny bit of this pale, pale, pale blue for sky. There's some natural picnic kind of greenish brown kind of colors in here as well, sort of like a mossy green. And so there's lots of things happening in this double sock blank. And you can see there's a couple of pictures of that. And then you can see it completely unwound into unraveled into strands. So I'll just show you. Okay, yeah, here. So there is the sock blank as it comes all rolled up. We package it like this. And then when you unravel it, it might look like this, right? And every one of these is going to be slightly different because they're going to pick up the dye just a little bit differently just because of the way that we dyed them this time. And so it's something that's very different, very unique. And then you go and you undo the little knot that's at the end and then you unravel it. And so I made a whole tutorial on how to unravel it. And because it's double sock blank, and then they become like this. So then you have two hanks that are full of this, like, it looks a little bit like ramen. It looks a little bit like noodles. It looks a bit like it's very stretchy, it's very bouncy, and then you're wondering, what do I do with this now? So you would take these two hanks that have been removed from your Swift or your yarn winder, and then you would go and you wash these. And when you wash them, then all of the strands and all the kinks in the strands actually relax, and then they become much easier to work with. If you don't mind the kinks, you can just knit this as is. You can wind this into a ball right now and just use this like this. But if you want it to be a little bit smoother, you can wash them first, hang them up to dry, and then they become a lot smoother. And so the one that I used, I washed it and then I wound it onto a cone, and you can see how smooth that is now. It's just like regular yarn. I happen to wind this one with the Sunfire cone winder, makes these really beautiful looking cones, and that's what the colorway looks like at that point in time. So wanted to show you guys. Yes, Elaine's saying, I like knitting 2 at a time socks right from the blank. You can absolutely do that. I have done that as well before, and that works great. So I cranked a pair of socks, and this is the reason why you might want to try working with a double sock blank, is that you can make something that is basically identical, like 2 items that have the same dye markings. Okay, because you're taking them apart from here, 2 strands, they're going to be dyed exactly the same way with each section. So here are my socks that I have cranked. And you can see the color flows and changes throughout the sock. This is something that you really can't get in any other way with any other kind of hand-dyed yarn. There's a gradient sort of effect going on, so it goes from this kind of peachy, sherbety, orangey kind of pinky effect. There's a little bit of green here, and then it changes out here, and then near the bottom of this particular sock blank, I'm getting a little bit more magenta, a little bit more pinks going on, and it's changed from top to bottom. I love these. I think they're so fun. And I think that part of the fun of this is that when you undo the sock blank, I'm hoping you guys can sort of see this effect. You can see that the colors are a little bit mottled, a little bit, there's some light and dark sort of flashing that happens within each strand here. So there's like a little bit, it's not like a flat color for that one section. There's a little bit of modeling that happens. And the modeling, I feel like, makes a really fun overall appearance. So that's one of the things that I made. I made these socks. I love them. I'm going to have to finish those ends. Love it. Okay, then I'm going to show you this. So this one, Anita made this one, okay? So Anita made this one, and basically she unraveled her sock blank and then she's used it to knit it into a t-shirt. It's a tee pattern called Wileen, I believe. And we are putting that in a blog post, I think. I think Bridget is putting all of that together as well and everything like that. But this is really neat. So you could combine this colorway with anything else. Anita's used a purplish color here, and so you can see sort of the striping, and it also helps break up the hand-dyed colorway because the hand-dyed colorway has a little bit more like there's more stuff going on in that one. And so maybe you don't want your whole sweater to be all kind of like this effect. maybe you want to break it up a little bit more. And so you can break it up by expanding it into a bigger project with a different color. Oh, Bridget's posted the link to the blog post in the chat. Thank you, Bridget. That is awesome. So yes, you could use any color in here. You could use navy blue, you could use pink, you could use white, you could use this light aqua blue. You could choose to mix it with all sorts of different things to either bring out, feature, highlight different parts of this colorway. But this is just also a really nice way to expand something, because oftentimes we'll get like one skein of yarn and then you're like, well, what do I do with just one skein of yarn? You could always combine it with a second skein of yarn to make something a little bit bigger, something more substantial if you wanted to make something beyond like a pair of socks or some mitts or a shawl or something like that. So that is just one other idea. We also have, it's sitting on my desk, so I should talk about it, right? We have, if you are interested, we're doing also the cherry sock blank. This is the cherry blossom sock blank. That is a single sock blank. So it's a single strand that has been knit into a sock blank. I'm going to just open this up so you guys can take a look. So this is another variation of the cherry blossom idea that we have done in previous years, and we're bringing this color back for this month in order to celebrate the cherry blossoms. Like it. Yeah, I think it's neat. I always like this idea of being able to show one particular idea in different ways. So you can talk about cherry blossoms every single year. But I'm hoping that every year we'll have a different take on it. We'll have a different understanding of it. Maybe we'll have a different experience with it. And so something like cherry blossoms is a timeless concept that we can hopefully come back to and just try to tell different stories about how we experience it. So this is one of those stories. Now, I'm going to make sure that I haven't missed anything. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll show you where I put my tutorial. So this is the tutorial that has a link here. The link right now is unlisted. And so what I'm going to do right after we get off this call is I will make it public and then you'll be able to see it as well. But if you go to this link directly, you'll be able to see all of the information about this tutorial about how to unravel a sock blank. I have it up on YouTube as well right now, but it is also unlisted, and I will make that public after this call as well. Ah, you made it live. Yay. Okay, Bridget did it already. Yay. Wonderful. Okay, I'm just going to double check to make sure I have not missed anything. Where is my stuff? Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so that is that. I'm going to show you this one. So those are my beautiful cones that have been rewound into beautiful, beautiful cones. I cannot recommend that Sunfire enough. It's a wonderful cone winder. It makes these beautiful looking cones. I absolutely love it. The next thing is that each month the club comes with like a little special treat. And so this is the treat that Teresa sourced and found and is great. And so she found these flower shaped stitch markers that come in the exact colors of our double sock blank. And so these come with the set as well. They're from here, All Stitch Studio. So these are for knitting needles up to size US 8 mil 8, number 8, and 5mm. So these are seamless stitch markers. They're not going to catch on anything or anything like that. And so these come together in the set. And so we have our monthly deadline for subscribing to the club comes on the 15th of every month. And so the deadline to get into the May club is going to be April 15th, which I believe is Monday, right? Monday? I think it's Monday. So that is the deadline for joining the club for next round. Very, very excited about that. And then we also have Fibre Club that is going to come out in June. So that is coming as well. So if you prefer spinning, if you like fiber, then that is something that you guys can check out. Okay. And yes. So cherry blossom sock blank. This is a single sock blank. And these are some of the colors that we are going to come out with in the month of April, just to kind of feature and highlight cherry blossom season. We have a bunch of colorways that we are going to pop back onto the store, including apricot, bison, candy floss, clementine, lady gray, orchid, peony, walnut, and this cherry blossom single sock blank. These are all going to be available on Fingering Weight Yarns until May the 7th. And so those are going to be available on our shop. There's there's a product on there called SweetGeorgia Vault Cherry Blossom. And so that is going to be hopefully popped into the chat as well. And then you'll be able to find all of that. So that's a cherry blossom feature for this month. It's just we're going to be celebrating a lot of everything to do with cherry blossoms. I'm curious if cherry blossoms is just something that happens in it can't possibly be something that just happens in sort of the Pacific Northwest. I'm sure it must happen everywhere. Cherry blossoms must be everywhere, right? Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about the next thing. The next thing is this multi-craftual make-along. So this is funny. I feel like it's funny. I feel like it's I feel like this is exactly us and should be exactly us. This idea of being multi-craftual, liking more than one craft at one time, and sort of enjoying and experiencing how the one craft leads into the next, and everything is about making the yarn at the beginning and then using the yarn. Making yarn either by spinning it or by dyeing it or by dyeing and then spinning it and then making it into something, whether you're knitting with it, crocheting with it, weaving with it, machine knitting with it, using a CSM machine for it, whatever it is, it's just kind of like making the yarn and then making something with it. And so that is what this multi-craftual make along celebrates. So what we're doing is we're doing sort of like 4 months, April, May, June, July, focused on spinning fractal yarns. Okay. And then at the end of July, we're going to like look at everybody's projects and we would love to showcase and feature and highlight your project maybe on our blog and share a little bit about what you made and how you made it if you're excited to share about it. Also in July, we do a lot of spinning for Tour de Fleece. That comes up in July as well. And then we want to run this multi-craftual make-along again, kind of like a round 2, starting from September to December. And then we'll focus on a different kind of spinning or a different kind of way of making yarn. And so it might be combo spinning, might be gradient spinning, might be gradient yarn. So this idea of like making the yarn, making something with it. This week, just a couple days ago, I gave a presentation to a local guild. It was the Peace Arch Weavers and Spinners Guild. They call themselves PAWS, which is great. Peace Arch Weavers and Spinners Guild. And they are in this lovely, amazing little wooden house. It's like it's a town hall built in 1881 and it's a great group of people. And I asked everybody in the room, like, how many of you guys like more than one craft? And every single hand went up. Like it was amazing. Like everybody loves more than one thing. And so I think this way of celebrating that we are more than one thing, that we can make yarn and that we can do something with the yarn, all of this kind of stuff is something that we want to help sort of celebrate. And so you can absolutely join us on Discord to have this conversation, share photos about what you're making, what you're spinning. You can also, of course, join us in the School of SweetGeorgia. We talk about this on the forums as well. And so you can see this photo here is some fiber that I prepped using a technique that I learned from Kim McKenna about how to run sort of your hand painted fiber through a set of hand cards and using a diz to make perfect, absolutely perfect, beautiful prep for spinning. And so this fiber is so like aerated and lovely and attenuated that when you spin it, it almost spins itself. It just spins like butter. So I'll show you a photo here of it before and after. So on the left is like strips of fiber that I just kind of tore off of the braid, and it's BFL and silk. So one of my favorite blends ever. And you split this up, and that's what it looks like. It's got like a little bit of this little crinkly crimp, right? It's still in there. It's all there. And it's with any sort of hand dyeing process, it's going to be a little bit more compacted. It's going to be a little bit, together. And so what I learned from Kim at the very beginning was always to pre-attenuate your fiber before going to spin it. But even as you pre-attenuate the fiber, there's a little bit of inconsistency in all of that. And so running it through the hand cards and the diz caused this beautiful pile of fiber here. And so it seems like a lot of extra work, but at the end of the day, if it produces a yarn that is more consistent, more lovely, more, yeah, it's just really nice. um, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this yarn all done. I'm halfway through the spinning process right now. I have spun all of the little skinny strips onto a bobbin, and so I'm just about to start spinning my second bobbin, which is the other half of my yarn. And I'm making a 2-ply right now, but I have a feeling this 2-ply is going to be too thin for what I'm wanting to make. But in any case, this is not the only yarn that I'm going to spin over the course of the spin along. So yeah, I'm excited and interested to hear what you guys are spinning and making as well. And you guys could always feel free to post in our Discord. We talk a lot about all of this. I'll also point out to you guys that there are two tutorials. I wonder if I can copy and paste those in here. That would be amazing. Do those work? Oh, they might work. Those are the tutorials that I used to do this fiber prep. And so those are available on the School of SweetGeorgia. Those are all taught by Kim McKenna. So excited for you guys to try that. I want to see if you guys see a difference in your yarn by doing this technique and spending more time with your hands on the fiber, experiencing the fiber, feeling how the fiber works. And it's nice because sometimes when I sit and I spin, I'll take a fiber braid and just split it up and start spinning. And that's a certain amount of time that you've spent with your fiber. But if you do this and you're spending more time sort of dizzing and pulling and prepping and attenuating your fiber, you get to touch that fiber for longer. It's actually super, super enjoyable. It's kind of like I watch my daughter play with slime. It's like her favorite thing right now. She loves slime. And it's because there's this sensory experience when you play with it. And it's that same sensory experience that you get when you play with fiber. When you're pulling this fiber through a diz, that feeling is amazing. So you get to sort of extend your whole experience with a fiber braid that you've acquired, and spend more time with it. So it is fun. Yes. The spinning experience is also wonderful. Yes, I agree. The next thing I want to share with you is also from Kim. Kim recorded this class with us when we were at our previous studio, and we're really, really, really excited to be able to share this with you guys. It is a class on tension systems. And so tension systems is specifically referring to the mechanics of how spinning wheels work. So this is kind of like an exploration about like Scotch tension, looking at Irish tension. It is looking at double drive systems. So Kim will talk about the differences between the three different drive systems and then any sort of wheel adjustments that you need to make in order to make that whole experience of sitting at your wheel more comfortable. So I know like my wheel is this wheel right here. Okay, that's a matchless from Shacked. So it's a Shacked cherry matchless. It's a beautiful spinning wheel. I love it. But this wheel is very, very versatile. It can actually be set up in Scotch tension, in Irish tension, and double drive. But I always keep it set up in Scotch tension. Um, and so it could be something like if you've always used Scotch tension, maybe you set up your wheel for double drive and see what that does. See what the experience is like. See how different it might be or might not be. Kim also talks about how sometimes we feel like when the wheel is kind of just like pulling yarn in or making your spinning experience feel not as good as you like, and you're wondering maybe there's something wrong with what I'm doing, maybe there's something wrong with how I'm drafting the fiber, maybe there's something wrong with how I'm handling the fiber, but maybe it's actually something to do with the wheel, and maybe the wheel needs a certain kind of adjustment in order to make the whole experience better. And so that's what the whole course kind of covers. And so I'm looking forward to seeing if if this all works out for you guys and if you guys enjoy the class and find something new from all of this. So that is the class that is just coming out. And this is a class that just came out a few weeks ago. So this is a class that I teach on overshot weaving on 4 shafts. And so it's very much like an introduction to, if you have never woven overshot before, how do you get started? How does this all work? And I hope that you guys find that it's way more fun than you think. It seems really complicated, but it's actually not very complicated. And I know that a bunch of people, you guys are in the chat today, that you guys have already started weaving samples of your overshot, and it's really cool to see this all coming together. So you can see this warp that I'm using for all of these samples is basically 10-2 mercerized cotton. It's like a fine cotton, and then you can put in whatever you like for supplementary pattern weft. So in this case, I was using a lot of 5-2 cotton, 5-2 pearl cotton. In this case, this is my hand spun in this sort of inlay project. And then here, this is just array on this side. This side here with the gradients, this first block, this is just array. And array is actually like a tapestry weaving yarn. And so it's thin. So I took 2 colors of that, held it together, and then made my own little gradient through that. So there's lots and lots of different things that you can do with overshot. So I'm excited to see if you guys give this a try. And if you have any questions, of course. So that's basically what we were doing. Yes. Right now, we're developing some patterns to go with this class for later on this year. So in the class, we're showing these samplers and how to use like the same warp to create all of these different patterns, just mixing colors, doing things in different order and things like that. But this later on this year, we also have content coming out about like making a larger project, maybe some of the considerations that have to be taken into consideration as you make this project wider, and also weaving overshot. Yeah, fantastic. Sandra saying there's not enough time. I hear you. I absolutely hear you. So many things to explore and try. All we're trying to do here is just to give you like a taste of what's available and what's possible, and then you can see sort of like which rabbit holes you want to follow. But I know that, like, I definitely know that I'm in a community of people who are excited about trying different things with yarn. And anytime I meet people, they're like, oh, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this. And so I know that the possibilities are infinite. We also have, what else do we have coming soon? I'm going to I don't have a photo of it, but the other thing that we have coming soon is a grading knitwear class that's going to come out with Holly Yo. So Holly Yo is a local knitwear designer. She's been working with us for long, long time, many, many years now. We actually made a book together called Tempest when my kids were like little. That was like 10 years ago almost. Um, And so, yeah, we've been working with Holly for a long, long time. She also did a class with us on knitting, finishing techniques, and things like that. A lot of fundamental knitting techniques. And we released that in the School of SweetGeorgia a while ago. But Holly has come back to teach one on grading knitwear and making sure grading knitwear is basically like taking the sizes and then expanding, proliferating out all of the sizes of a knitting pattern so that all of the sizes will fit different people. And so it's very much about like inclusive sizing, making sure, what considerations do you need to make in order to expand? Because it's not a straight line, right? It's not like, you have to double your sleeve size because that doesn't make sense because there's a lot of things that happen that are not straight line increases. So, in any case, Holly goes through all of that and she works through a lot of math and a lot of charts on how to grade knitwear. So, if you are interested in sort of designing your own projects and then finding a way of making different sizes, this is one of the big challenges of learning how to become a knitwear designer. I know when I first started Sweet Georgia, I designed a cardigan pattern that I wanted to release and I designed it for my size, fit me great. And then I was absolutely stuck because I thought, oh, I have no idea how to make this bigger. And so I tried to use size charts and I tried to figure out how to sort of expand things, but I had a couple of other sizes knit and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't look right. And so I never actually published that cardigan pattern because I was completely stuck. And there was no resources at the time for how to actually grade knitwear. So I'm really, really thankful to be able to, put this together and have Holly teach us how to do this because that's a one big hurdle. It's a big, big hurdle. Trying to figure out all the different sizes. I can make it fit me, but you need to make it fit other people too. So there's of course that. So finally, I have here all the places that you guys can find us right now. We are in Discord. It's a very lovely, chatty group of people. We actually, just last week, we hit 1,000 members in the Discord channel, which is amazing. And I think it's also kind of funny that, like, in our weaving channel, there was so much discussion about 3D printing that we ended up actually starting a 3D printing sort of chat, specifically for people who are interested in talking about 3D printing. Because, like I said, everybody who's sort of in this community, I find, is interested in making things. And even to the point of being able to make and print your own tools, either for weaving or for knitting or for spinning. Like the fact that you can make something from nothing, I think is what we all have in common. So I was kind of tickled to think that there was enough conversation about 3D printing that we could start an entire 3D printing channel. And if you join the Discord, you'll see that one of our members, super awesome, super amazing, has actually just finished 3D printing a CSM, so a circular sock knitting machine. So this member has finished printing it, has put needles in it, actually acquired needles. Um, you'll see photos of it, and there's also a video posted of how this 3D printed circular sock knitting machine actually works. It's awesome. It's amazing. So really, really thankful for this community. There's so much enthusiasm. There's so much interest, and there's so much sharing and generosity and just people helping each other. So it's been a really, really great thing to see come together and grow. So that's one of the places that we're sharing a lot of things. As well, we're on Instagram. You guys can find us there. And YouTube. This is here. So if you're not subscribed actually to this channel, I do encourage you guys to subscribe. And then you'll get notifications about when things actually get posted on here. We are focused on getting into a schedule of posting more things on YouTube in the coming months. But right now, I'm finishing up a bunch of courses and a bunch of course content for the school. And so once that is sort of off my plate, then I'll be able to do more things on YouTube. But one of those things is definitely going to be giving a tour and walking you around the new studio and showing you all of that. You can see this is a photo of our front room, front shop, and there's a lot of light coming in. There's a lot of natural daylight. I think what this place needs is plants. I think I need a lot of plants. So that's kind of the next sort of thing to do in this space. And then, of course, if you guys are on the School of SweetGeorgia, we have our discussion forums on there. Very, very helpful place, because this is the place where you can find our instructors. If you tag the instructors in the forums, you very often will get answers directly from Charlotte, directly from Rachel, directly from Diana and Kim. They are in there answering questions for students of the school. So that is a wonderful thing as well. And then we do these meetups. We do these monthly meetups right now. And so the second Monday of every month, I'm doing a meetup about weaving, specifically about weaving just for school members. And then the fourth Monday of every month, Greta is hosting a meeting specifically about fiber prep and spinning. And so these have been really well attended and just really engaging moments to spend some time together talking about a specific topic. We also have 2 crafternoons every month where it's just more of a casual hangout. You can come join us on Zoom, and members will sort of spend that time with Robin on there, and then just share about what they're working on and just sit there and knit or bring whatever project you happen to be bringing. Robin is doing a ton of stuff, and I'm most excited to see that she just recently posted also on Discord and in the forums that she finished a machine knit shrug that she created a gradient for with a bunch of different fingering weight yarns. She designed this thing, knit this thing, and has put it together and has modeled photos of it, and just like very proud of her for finishing that. And it's really inspiring to see, because it just makes me want to go back and spend more time at my machines as well. So it's all of this sort of everybody encouraging and inspiring everybody else. So that's been really, really fun. And as well, we have our blog where things are coming as well. And we started doing these Multicraftual Monday meetups. It's the first Monday of every month, also in the evening. And it's basically a time where we get to talk about all of this fractal spinning and whatever we happen to be making. And that one is open to everyone. So if you join the Discord, you can get the link to the Zoom room where we meet on those Monday evenings. And so that is with that. Jennifer's asking, I really want to start fractal spinning, so the make along is perfect. Yay! And where do I find info and steps? Yes, I think we have a couple of resources where we can help you with fractal spinning for sure. Wonderful. So that is our new address for our new studio in Vancouver. And of course, these are all of our links as well that you can find us. And this is a photo of mid work, mid dressing the loom. This is what's happening basically at my house right now. And I'm basically taking this hand painted warp that is cotton warp, and I'm tying onto a dummy warp here. And so this is all something that I talk about and I explained in the Weavers meeting for the SOS members a couple of days ago. And this is all sort of behind the scenes development of a new course that I'm trying to put together about weaving with hand painted warps. I'm always interested to hear if you guys have other ideas and suggestions about what you would like to see inside the school, what kind of courses you like, what kind of content you might be looking for. We are planning right now for 2025. And so we're always looking to hear back from members, from people in the community, from our Sweet Georgia community, just what you would like to see us make, what you would like to see us spend a few minutes thinking about. We are very, very concentrated, and we want to focus on the core things that we do, which is knitting and spinning and weaving and dyeing. And so those kinds of core things we want to actually develop more content for. But at the same time, like I said, I recognize that everybody is interested in a lot of different things. We might not make a course on 3D printing, but maybe we have other rabbit holes that we would go down, that maybe the rabbit holes might be, you know, something to do with machine knitting, maybe something to do with embroidery, maybe something to do with whatever. We're not settled on anything yet, but I'm always open to hearing about thoughts and ideas. So if you guys have anything that you want to sort of share or propose, you can definitely message me in Discord. You can send me an email. You can reach out and contact us in a number of different ways. We also, yes, Greta's saying, we also have a place in the school forums where we talk about ideas for new content and new courses. And so we're always thinking about that and wondering what would be best for this community, because the whole goal is to support this multi-craftual community in all the things that you want to make and also help you out with actually making them. So again, it's about making the yarn and then making something from the yarn. What are we doing with all of this? So that was really lovely to be able to see you guys in the chat here, and it's lovely to see all these familiar names. And yeah, it's nice to be able to do this. I would love to see you guys face to face in a Zoom call at some point in time, in maybe the next couple of weeks or something like that. So if you're a member of the school, you can come join us for one of those meetings. So lovely to see everybody today. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys in the next one. All right, bye for now.